Sir, we are live. Please go ahead. Sir, we are live.
You are mute.
Please. Yeah.
Bharat, you are mute.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Johar, Namaskar. I, Bharat Jaiswal, Regional Director, ASSOCHAM, would like to welcome you all in today's webinar, Jharkhand, the Nucleus of Mining Hub Challenges and Opportunities. स्वागत है आपका आज के इस खास वेबिनार में जहां हम बातें करेंगे देश के निर्माण की. Despite being one of the India's youngest state, mineral-rich Jharkhand should be in the front foot of the country's drive towards economic prosperity. Blessed with 40% of India's mineral capacity, Jharkhand is the country's third largest mineral producer. Jharkhand contributes more than 70% of Jharkhand's non-tax revenues come from mining sector. It also brought employment and higher standard of living and tourism to Jharkhand's almost 4 crore citizens. As you all know, the outbreak of the virus and the continuous lockdown has had an adverse impact on the coal and mining market because of low industrial activity and therefore reduced for commercial power. Additionally, the sector is confronted with many other issues like mining block auction parameters, efficiency of mine development, coal import. Overall, the mining sector has seen a 40% reduction since last year because of the pandemic. The big disruptor for the Jharkhand steel player is that many merchant iron ore leases in Jharkhand, which is expired in 2020, are yet to be renewed, leading to further scarcity of iron ore to the state. Moreover, like the Odisha Mining Corporation, which provides assured supplies of iron ore to Odisha-based industries under a long-term linkage policy. The webinar, therefore, will not just deliberate on the challenges, but also try and seek solution in terms of generating innovative ideas for reforms of the sector. It will also suggest ways of bridging gap between government and industry. Taking this in consideration, ASSOCHAM as a responsible chamber is organizing today's webinar, and I have every hope that today's discussion will be a fruitful one, where we have the pleasure of having senior representatives from the sector. With a deep sense of gratitude, I would like to, on behalf of ASSOCHAM, I would like to welcome Sri R.B. Ritolia, Chairman, ASSOCHAM Eastern Regional Mineral and Mining Council, former CMD for Central Coalfield Limited. Sri Pankaj Satija, Chief Regulatory Affairs, Tata Steel, Sri Abhijit Ghosh, ex-CMD, HEC, Dr. Gunwant Singh Mongia, Director for Mongia Steels, Dr. P.C. Mishra, Executive Head for IICM, Indian Institute of Coal Management, Sri Ujjwal Chatterjee, Advisor for Commercial Coal Mining, EMIL, Mining and Minerals, SL Mining Group. I would also like to welcome and invite Sri Sanjeev K. Prasad, Associate Director, KPMG, to moderate today's session. Sanjeev has about 25 years of professional experience in management, consulting, as well as mining and metal industry. And presently working with KPMG, he has completed 2 years MBA from IIM Bangalore and mining engineering from ISM Dhanbad, now IIT Dhanbad. He has worked for some of industry's major firms like KPMG, IBM, Ernst & Young, SR Steel, Tata Steel, and Coal India. Over to you, Sanjeev ji, and request and invite to take it from here onwards.
Thanks, Bharat. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for investing your time to attend this session on the afternoon. As introduced by Bharat, my name is Sanjeev Prasad and I will be acting as a facilitator for this webinar. Today we have an amazing panel as introduced by Bharat ji on the subject of Jharkhand, the mining hub challenges. Will be means Bharat has already background about that. We will be discussing about the mining industry, especially in Jharkhand, and especially considering the recent statutory and regulatory changes, primarily commercialization of coal mines, as well as post-COVID impact. But before going into discussion, I would means there are attendees. So if you can say hi or something like that, it will be good. Are people there? Okay, let's move ahead. So as Bharatji has already told about panel, and I means we have a representative panel from entire spectrum of mining industry. Means I will say from coal to metal mining, from PSU to public sector, mining to manufacturing industry. So I believe that we could not have got a better panel than discuss these issues. I hope we all will be gaining tremendous insights from their vast experiences. So starting the panel, before starting the panel discussion, our goal for this webinar will be that whatever your role in industry is there, due to their insights, you gain a fresh experience, uh, fresh exposure about the trends that is going to come into mining industry and deploy them in your day-to-day role. Here is the format we are going to go about this webinar. So that will give you an idea what to expect in next 1.5 hours or something like that. First, I will request and invite all the panels individually to speak, to give their first thoughts on the issue. Thereafter, I will kick off a discussion conversation here where I will be taking some questions with them and getting their ideas on some high level themes. And after that, in last 10 minutes, we will keep the floor open for audience. So if there are any questions from audience, the panelists can take those questions. And in between also, if some of you want, please keep typing questions in the chat box. I will be jotting down and I will be raising those questions with the panelist. So sound good? Great. So we will go about the panel discussion now. Before going to the panel discussion, I would first introduce our speaker, Sri R.P. Ritolia ji. I must say that we are privileged to have Ritolia sir here with us for this discussion. He is ex-CMD of Central CCL, Central Coalfield Limited, as well as former advisor to MD Tata Steel for their mines. Under his leadership, CCL became a Navratna from an ailing company, and he has been the leader or foremost in driving CCL to achieve more than 1,000 crore rupees of profit for continuously 3 years, for about 3 consecutive years. Presently, he is advisor to Swambhu Natural Resources company, a unit of SREI Infrastructure, SREI Group. So considering, Ritolia sir, the changes that had happened and primarily with the commercial opening of coal mines for commercial of this one, I invite you to share your thoughts on opportunity and challenges in this aspect. Please, sir.
Thank you, Sanjeev, for the introduction. And at the outset, I must express my gratitude and thanks to ASSOCHAM for giving this opportunity to me. I belong to Jharkhand, born and brought up in Dhanbad, and then I have worked mostly, in BCCL, CCL, and ECL, which is, the coal mining area pertaining to only Jharkhand. The two companies, BCCL and CCL, has their entire operation in Jharkhand, and in ECL, the major part of the production from Rajmal and Chitra mines comes from the Jharkhand. So you can say that I live and feel the pulse of the Jharkhand, particularly with related to the coal industry, The coal resources. So I will not go globally. I will confine myself only to the Jharkhand. So the coal resources in Jharkhand, out of the total reserves of the country in around 320 billion ton or so, 80 billion tons of coal is in Jharkhand, which accounts for almost 27% of the total resources. Another good thing that the coking coal, which is so essential for the metallurgical industry, is entirely available only in Jharkhand, that is in BCCL and CCL. So Jharkhand has got, the a abundance opportunity. There are other minerals also. I am not going to touch upon that. There are other experts, Pankaj Satija, etc., who will be dealing in that aspects. But the Jharkhand is, blessed with a lot of mineral resources, and particularly there are a lot of opportunities in coal mining in particular. So, but we have to understand one thing. So far, coal mining is concerned, that because of the environmental issue, world over, there is a clamor for closure of the coal mining and the related industries. So let us admit that this is a reality, and sooner or later, this is going to happen. So coal now does not have a finite future. When we were students, we used to say coal to zindagi bhar rahega. But अब वो बात नहीं है कि coal is not going to remain. Coal has got a finite future, and when experts say that it could be 15 years, 20 years, I will look to a horizon till let us aim at up to 2050, and that is also subject to the big challenge for the renewable energy in storage. If that problem is solved, maybe the coal will have the doomsday earlier. So in this backdrop, the whole idea of telling you this background is that we have to extract and utilize these valuable resources as fast as possible. And I will say in this backdrop, opening of coal sector for private players, that is commercial coal mining, without any end use restriction is a very welcome move. But let us now examine what has till now led to this coal mining with specific reference to Jharkhand. I am not again going to the complete nationwide. There has been 2 tranches of the auction. In the first tranche from Jharkhand, 9 blocks were offered, and out of that, 5 have been acquired, with the peak rated capacity ranging from 0.15 million to 10 million ton, and from the total resource which was offered was 2,287 million. Against that, only 856 million ton has been grabbed. In the second tranche, there were 16 mines on offer from Jharkhand, out of which only 3 were acquired, peak rated capacity ranging from 0.4 to 0.6, and the reserves being offered was 3,142 million ton. Against that, only 100 million ton was acquired. Now, let us ponder and examine that what is the reasons for such a poor response, and the issues and challenges associated with the commercial coal mining in Jharkhand. Now, the most important one is that the stand of the state government is not very clear on the policy front. All of you must have seen that the Jharkhand government approached to the court, Supreme Court, for halting these total operations of the commercial mining. And sometimes, when the business meet, they say that we are investor friendly and we invite the persons for the investment in coal sector and all other sector. So this gives a very big dilemma into the minds of the investor. And unless and until there is clarity, nobody would like to put their money into this. So this is one area where the Jharkhand government should have a very much clarity whether they will be welcoming these persons who will be acquiring coal mining or not. The second most important, because I can tell you this is, I am not saying theoretically, I am associating now advising a multinational company in acquisition of coal blocks. They are based at London, and I am advising them. So what I am feeling at the ground level, the pinch of this, the problems associated with this commercial coal mining, I am speaking only that. Land and RRR is one of the biggest issue, and it is a very much capital intensive. You will be, many of you who know me, who may be knowing, but you will be surprised that nowadays when we are, doing the financials, we are taking the cost of the land and RRR as high as 1 crore per acre, in some cases per acre, in some cases per hectare. So you can imagine the amount of money going into that. And even with this amount of money, you are not sure whether you will be acquire the land after and the RRR issue can be resolved. One of my suggestions in this has been, and this I have been talking to the coal secretary also, that ultimately at the end of the day, I have to pay the money. So you decide that this is the total amount hectares, and you deposit this money with the government, and the government should transfer that land, and they should disburse to the miner, the landowners. Because otherwise, this is going to be a challenge, and unless and until this is being resolved, and of course the Secretary Coal has also sometimes told it, but I think the Jharkhand government should take this initiative and do this Otherwise, this commercial coal mining will have a very big roadblock. Again, one very, surprising issue, that compensatory afforestation. And this I felt, I was talking to one of the person from West Bengal Power Development Corporation. That is also a government entity. You have to get the forest land transferred. And against that, compensatory afforestation land has to be given. That has also to be given by the government's land block only. And person is running from pillar to the post to finding out what is the land. Now, government should have a land bank. They should simply take the money and then transfer that land to the forest department. So this appears to be very simple, but I tell you, these are one of the very challenging issues. Then, we have been talking always for the single window clearance. This is more in the theory. And unless and until all these statutory clearances are expeditiously granted, and whatever is the single window clearance, or we have been talking, even the Niti Aayog has recommended that there should be a system of deemed approval. There should be a timeline. If there is a delay from the government side, there should be a system of deemed approval. But this is yet to come into the practice. Now, unless and until, because there is a timeline given for after acquiring of the coal block, government gives a timeline of around 4.5 years to 5 years to start the block. And if you don't start, then the lot of the money is at stake. And if you start early, that is an incentive also, and it is an incentive for everybody. So the only two things, if the land and R&R issue is taken, compensatory afforestation is taken, all the statutory clearance is given, then the mine can be started very fast. The another very important aspect is that financing of the coal projects. This, of course, also we have been taking it up. Now you say this is a big challenge. No banks wants to finance nowadays coal projects or coal related, and this phenomenon is not only in India, it is across the globe. So I'll say that the state government should also have a proactive approach to have some special purpose vehicle, or should have some influence on the state-run banks to finance these coal projects, because unless and until there is adequate financing, this is going to be another issue. Now, law and order, of course, in general, that is an issue in Jharkhand. But then when running in the coal mine, of course, I have been in CCL, being in a public sector undertaking, we used to get a lot of support from the administration, I must admit. And that's why even our area like Piparwar, etc., highly, on the slide belt, we could run successfully. Now, similar type of support has to be assured and should come to the private players as well. There has to be a level playing field. Now, there are other issues also, such as logistic, marketing, etc. But I will say there, of course, it need to be the coordinated, and even the mine owners can take care of that with support from the government. The another thing, that effective utilization of DMF fund. This is one issue which those who are connected, they must be listening to this, that lot of money is given into DMF fund, which should come to the welfare of the persons living in and around the coal mining area. This fund is not being effectively utilized, and that is why, sometimes you have an adverse reaction from the people remaining is there, that the particularly coal mine owner is not doing anything for them. Now, individual owner, it is not possible, and that is why this fund has been created. So there should be effective utilization. Now, gentlemen, what I'm trying to say, that with the investor consider, if the coal mining is started early and the large volume of additional coal is produced, it has a direct and indirect advantage to the states and its inhabitants. Whereas government receives a huge amount in terms of royalty, taxes, and the premium being paid, the locals get, the value for the land, which otherwise is nobody is going to purchase. You and I are not going to purchase the land which is over a coal mine. But if you are sold to the coal mine, you get a huge amount of money. And employment opportunities besides the business opportunity. Before closing, I just give you one example, that recently I visited Pakur, and this is, underdeveloped place near Dumka in Jharkhand. And there I visited the Pachwada North mine of West Bengal Power Development Corporation. Now this mine is being run by VG Reddy, producing almost 30,000 tons, 10 million tons a day. And they are operating 500 trucks daily. And all these trucks belong to the locals and being operated by them. You can see the amount of sea change in their livelihood, in their earnings. And this is not only one mine, there are a number of other mines are also coming into this area. So this is only the tip of the iceberg. If the coal mines opportunities are given, if the coal is exploited, it gives lot of opportunities to a state like Jharkhand, which is still, abundance in natural resources, but you can say that still, as you say, the rich land, poor people, the famous book of Sanjita Narayan, and that said that because in spite of the richness, the people are poor. To conclude, I will say that there is a lot of opportunities, albeit opportunity will not be there forever. It has to be grabbed fast. Government has to have a coal-friendly approach so that the coal resources of Jharkhand is exploited fast and to the maximum. And it will be a win-win situation for all the stakeholders. Otherwise, gentlemen, I generally say that just like Notebandi, the coal resources in country, particularly in Jharkhand, will remain buried under Mother Earth, being of no use to the present and future generation. So let us, the Jharkhand government, let us come all together to exploit the coal resources of Jharkhand. I have been a part and parcel of this Jharkhand, so I have an emotional connect also. Thank you very much for giving me a patient hearing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ritalia sir. I must say that the emphasis that you have put on the finite life of the coal resources, and so even Jharkhand government and I will say even Indian government has very few time left to utilize this resource, exploit this resource for well-being of its people. Otherwise, this will remain worried. So I agree, and I think the participants will also agree that you have offered a number of practical implementable solutions for a state government and the means especially in the area of land, R&R, compensatory afforestation. These are the areas, single window clearances, financing of coal projects. So, and law and order support definitely. So I think that we will be able to work, and this is like in a small capsule, you have told what are the medicines that have to be taken in a one go. So that can address all the problems. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
I must say that we are very pleased to have our next speaker, Sri Pankaj Satija, who is working as a chief regulatory officer of Tata Steel. And so he is person who is handling many of those issues that Ritolia Sahab has raised, primarily on the regulatory side, including land, R&R, afforestation. So many of the single window clearances, those issues he is also addressing. He has about more than 25 years of experience in mining industry across different, I will say different multiple spectrums like strategic planning, production and maintenance, operation planning, project management. So he has seen the mining industry from all the sides. He has an entire 360-degree view of the mining industry and the problems that it is facing. He has been recipient of several awards in the past, such as FIMI Gem Granite Sustainability Award 2014-15, Excellent Performer Award 2015, Best Corporate Management Excellence Award 2016-17. So I request him to give his insights on the way for mining industry, considering all the regulatory changes.
Yeah,
Pankaj.
good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. It's an honor to be in the August panel where so many seniors are there, and I have a privilege of knowing, interacting officially and unofficially with all my fellow panelists. And it's really I would say in COVID time, meeting all of them is also a blessing for me. Rotilio Saab has almost covered everything. And when we talk about the coal mining, we see how coal mining have been awarded or how it has been earmarked for the non-coal India partners. And it also reminds me a story of a Kathopanishad, Nachiketa story, when Nachiketa father was trying to have a big famous yagya, and he started giving all the cows which were not useful for him to the fellow Brahmins. And Nachiketa told that why you are giving those cows which are of no use, which are not giving any milk. And he told that whatever I had, I can give. And Nachiketa told that you should have given the best thing you can give, but you are giving the things which are not of any use to you. And then you are giving for others too, and taking a pride that, you are a very good donor and all those things. And probably there is a different story of Nachiketa afterwards, but it draws a parallel with Coal India. So Coal India, whatever blocks Coal India couldn't operate, they gave it to others to participate in auction and go for it. So it is, so though it was not for donation, people wanted to pay for it, but the blocks which were offered, it has a simile with Nachiketa story that the blocks which Coal India cannot manage, where Coal India didn't want to work, those blocks came for auction. And we have seen the story of auction also when it started and how it is moving. There are a lot of euphoria in the first tranche. The biddings were very high. We also criticize government that it is moving towards revenue maximization rather than the discretion, which was the prime purpose for bringing the auction in the allocation of resources. But I would say that the industry also has been divided in different aspects of PSUs versus non-PSUs, captive versus non-captive. And though the government is trying to bridge the divide, but there are certain facilities, factors which are different for the different sectors. And it is again linked to the very famous story where a gentleman has two daughters and both the daughters were married. So he decided to visit one daughter after certain time. He met the first daughter, he was married to a farmer, and he asked the daughter, I'm very happy to see that you are having a very happy married life. Tell me, what should I do for you? He told, Father, I have everything. You just pray that you should have a good rains. He told, fine, I will pray to God that there will be good rains and you can have a good harvest. After some time, he went to the second daughter's place, and he also was very happy to see the second daughter. She was also married to a very good boy, and he asked, what should I do for you? And the second daughter was told that pray for sunshine, because my husband is a potter. So if he's a good sunshine, probably we will make more and more pots and we'll sell and we'll get more money. Now this guy was confused whether he should pray for sunshine or he should pray for rains. So today, if you look at the Ministry of Mines particularly, they're very hesitant to meet people in person, meet people in some conferences, because they don't know if they say anything, maybe it may be sunshine for others or it may be rains for others, and one section of the industry may get annoyed, and it may not be good for the industry, or it may not be good for the Ministry of Mines to answer those questions. So by and large, they are trying to close all the gaps and address all the issues. But in doing so, I would personally say that it is half done, and somehow the things are not very clear. Now see, a new law had come that captive, non-captive distinction they wanted to bridge. And they have given that after meeting the end-use plant, you can sell 50% of the material what you have produced. Now, there is no clear-cut definition of end-use plant. Though in legal parlance, singular has been defined as a plural. So if there is a end-use plant, it includes end-use plants. But then we have seen that many cases, the state government is interpreting it differently, asking which mine to which plant. So the state government is interpreting that one mine is linked to one end-use plant, so other mine cannot give it to other end-use plant of the same company. And if it was not written in the first lease term, then if the company wants to put other steel plant or other end-use plant, then state government is not very clear how to give that permission. So it's again going back to the same story which industry has been advocating, that central, state, whatever regulatory agencies are there, you please sit at one place and give us one SOP. Because it's again interpretation of the different laws and notification which putting the industry at risk. If you ask me from the iron ore perspective, it's good that in India has reached its 200 million ton production and continuing so for some gap. But then question here is, out of 200, more than 50% comes from one state, Odisha. It's a very industry friendly state, no problem at all. But then are we not risking the iron ore production to one state where one state produces more than 54%? I mean, the point here is we never knew 10 years back that Goa will not be producing for more than 2 years. And past 2 years, Goan iron ore production is nil, almost nil. Very few mines are running. And that is creating an imbalance, I would say. And tomorrow something happens to Goa, where all the steel plant will go, where they will get the material. We also should understand that most of the steel plants in India are inside the land, unlike other parts of the world where the plants are on the coastal area, except RINL and some few plants which have come recently. They are far from the coast. And if they have to import iron ore or coal, it will be a big challenge for them to bring the material inside the plant. Now, there also, apart from Goa, Jharkhand is also having issue of Saranda action plan, and many of the companies, those who have mines in Saranda, are struggling. They are not very sure. They are not certain that when the mines will be given a go ahead to start. And we all know that Chiria almost 2 billion ton, and if I take Steel Authority of India Limited, a bigger chunk of their iron ore resources are in Saranda area. And a company cannot, I can't say on behalf of Steel Authority, but as an industry person, I can always say that if there is no certainty of raw material, probably it will be a big risk for any company to plan their capex. And here, I appreciate that government of Jharkhand has taken lead 2 years back, and they had meeting with MOEF. But as of now, it is not very sure that how it will pan out. Karnataka, if you also see, there are carrying capacity study. There are a lot of money which miners have paid in violations and common cause and others. And that money can be utilized for making industry friendly or environment friendly logistics environment where carrying capacity can be further enhanced. So if you see at the iron ore scenario, fine, it is good we are having 200, but then it is not increasing, and we are not adding number of new mines. Number of mines, I mean, one mine we have seen, ArcelorMittal, which SR had got in the auction, that has recently came into news that they are going to start the mining. But there are more mines which were running in 2020, and after auction, many new players, those who have got those mines, are not able to start. So in net, if you see, the number of mines have reduced which were producing. And going by the trend, that will be an issue. Ritulia Sahib has also touched upon a very pertinent point that whatever we have, we should use it efficiently, effectively, and at a faster pace. We have seen how RE is penetrating, and most of the people in coal industry, they are very well aware that maybe in thermal coal, what is propelling it is not because of technology, but it is because of other aspect. Other aspect like coal in 42 to 44% of the revenue of Indian Railway comes from coal transportation. Majority of the local economies are based on coal production. These two are the other dynamics which are playing, but the moment the storage and other aspects are covered, and the way four major states, Chhattisgarh, which is having the highest coal reserve, Gujarat, which is the most industrialized state, Maharashtra and other states, they have come out with no new coal policy, that no thermal plant will be placed in that state based on coal. So that journey has already started. Most of the funds, mutual funds, you might have seen that they are also linked to ESG. So a kind of investor or the banking journey has also started in coal, and green hydrogen has been given a lot of push. So we may have green hydrogen, blue hydrogen, black or gray, but hydrogen is going to come, and there's a constant push from the government. And there are 3-4 bottlenecks in that. One bottleneck is of water requirement. So the government is planning to have those plants somewhere in Ladakh, Gujarat or Rajasthan, where there's a land availability. Second, green hydrogen especially requires a lot of water. So that is one area, and the transportation of hydrogen is also not easier. So government is trying to work on various options. Maybe they can transport electricity other than hydrogen, and other enablers, water and this, they may work out differently. But one thing is sure, going by the climate aspect and the concept of green steel, which is pushing all the steel makers in the world, and slowly it is coming to India also, the scrap use will be higher. I won't say that there is a famous talk that when a stone age lasted, it was not because the stone were vanished. There were no stone. That's why stone is lasted. So when the coal era will be over, it will not be like that. The coal would have been exhausted. Probably will not have market for that. And we have seen the different way how mica story in Jharkhand. So Ritolia Saab point that whatever we have, we should use it, consume it faster. And technology, one such thing which is happening very fast, changing, disrupting the older existing system. And the very famous technology definition is the technology which is not known today is the technology. So what can emerge tomorrow is the technology. And this is going to be the phase in coming days also. So we should not be thinking that iron ore or coal will be lasting for eternity. Maybe we may have certain different options which may not be making them attractive, but at the same time there can be various other applications of coal, like coal to liquid and others, which and coal to other products which Ministry of Coal is also trying and other companies are also looking for. So in my opinion, the focus should be both from the state and the center, that whatever minerals or coal or other we have, we should do faster extraction, make it for a useful application, and then with the technology, when the newer things comes, we should be ready to use it that way also. Unfortunately, other than limestone, coal, bauxite, and iron ore, Indian mining industry has not been for other minerals as it has been for these four minerals, and that is one area which government has been trying. And recent 100 blocks which Ministry of Mines has given to the state, some blocks of potash and phosphate were there. So there are silver lining, but other critical minerals and minerals required for the technology are yet to be seen. Only thing, some enablers like a calendar plan for auction and visibility on auctions can bring some comfort to the industry. So there are many other points, but as of now, I'll rest with these points and I'll come back again if there are certain questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pankaj. Thank you very much for your insight. You see, this is generally said that when you are a child, for the children, there is no, you don't give a statement or moral statement, because it is very difficult to grasp. If you say honesty is best policy, it is very difficult to grasp. But if you tell stories, the stories with its message remain etched in their memories like ever. Similarly, you see, it is said that Upanishads are so dry, so for common people to understand, that Puran is there, because Puran will tell the stories and give the message of Upanishad. Similarly, Pankaj has given two stories, and I think it will remain etched in our memory, of one of Nachiketa and another of farmer and potter, that will tell that what is the background or history of inefficient allocation of mineral blocks and ambiguity in or trying to please all the stakeholders and finally pleasing none of them. This background will remain. So thank you for your insights. And obviously you have covered about the problems that iron ore industry primarily in all the states that they are facing, and similarly other challenges being faced by mineral industry. Thanks for your insight, Pankaj. I will come to the next panelist, and we are extremely fortunate to have Sri Abhijit Ghosh, ex-CMD HEC, who has experience, almost 38 years of experience from mining to manufacturing. So he can look at the mining industry, and he can look also as a customer to the mining industry. So he had been in both the roles. During his stint as a director mining with Hindustan Copper Limited, he was awarded Dr. J. Coggin Brown Memorial Gold Medal by MGMI. So I invite Mr. Sri Abhijit Ghoshji to share his thoughts on prospects of coal and mining industry after this commercialization. Please, sir.
Thank you very much. Before I start, I'd like to thank ASSOCHAM for giving me this opportunity to share some of my views. My presentation will be sort of a blend of my experience and things which are happening in the industry right now. So it will be, a national and a state level both. So as you know that mining is an essential industry that provides key materials to the and is needed for the country's infrastructure development. So mining is one of the core sectors and growth driver of Indian economy. So there is no thoughts about that. So minerals and ore provides raw materials to many industries like power, steel, cement, aluminium, copper, and zinc. If you see the mineral industry in the country, and if you compare India's mineral resources vis-a-vis Australia or South Africa, you will find, our potential is same as Australia and South Africa. But unfortunately, their GDP contribution is 7 to 7.5%, whereas our GDP contribution is only 1.75%. Then if you see the exploration also, we are far behind than those countries. And our exploration, we have yet to do the exploration. We have to yet to prove the minerals. These are some of the things which are really bothering us. So with this in mind, the government of India, sort of came out with the amendment. They amended this Mines Mineral and Development and Regulation Act 1957, which was enacted more than 6 decades ago. The MMDR Amendment Act 2015 has brought in new essential features much needed for Indian mineral industry to meet global and national mineral production, conservation and safety related challenges. You see, I have worked in Jharkhand in bauxite as well as in copper. When I was with Hindustan Copper, I tried to develop the copper deposits of Ghatsila. In fact, as you know that way back in 1990s, all the mines of Hindustan Copper were closed down because of the LME was very less and it was not economic viable. And hence, they had to close down the operation. But then when I was director mining there, so I wanted to start all the mining activities. And then we prepared a plan to produce 4 million ton copper from there. And all the mines are underground mines. So that time only one mine was in operation, and that too was producing a meager 0.4 million ton. But then our plan was to produce 4.4 million ton. But then, surprisingly, when we had gone for the clearances, the environment clearance or and forest clearances, we took a lot of time. In fact, during my tenure, I could not get the forest clearance. And being a underground mines, if you have to wait for 4 years, 5 years to get forest clearance, how can you develop mineral industry in the country? How can you compete with the other part of the world? And as you know, that there is no concentrator plant at this point of time there. And so the concentrator plant also, they had to close down, but it was not viable. So we had planned to have a 3.5 million ton concentrator plant over there. We prepared the plan, but then because we have not got, they have not got the clearance, forest and environment clearance, the project is stalled. This is what, if you have to develop Jharkhand, you have to see in all aspects. The government of Jharkhand also should come forward to help that industry. And then I had the opportunity to work for Bauxite Mines, wherein actually that bauxite deposit only in Lohardaga available. But if you see, most of the mines are totally closed down, except few. And because of the various clearances they are awaiting, and then all of them are private owners. So they are not getting, clearances, and those mines they could not start. So and then if you come talk about the iron ore deposit, as Satyja was talking about the deposits in that surrender forest. When I was working for one company, Jindal Steel, that time we got that lease, and then we applied for forest clearance, environment clearance. But because there was no forest plan, the forest management plan is yet to be prepared, and because of that, and then this clearances were not given. And there is an elephant corridor. And that elephant corridor also, somebody has to define. And who has to define that elephant corridor? The forest people, they have to define the elephant corridor. And that has not been defined as yet. So these are some of the issues which are really bothering us. And if Jharkhand has to excel. Now, if you see Odisha, how nicely they auctioned their iron ore deposit, and how nicely they started their operation after the auction. And even in Jharkhand also, so many iron ore mines are not in operation, and but then they are waiting for the auction. But even if they go for auction, there is no forest management plan. If there is no forest management plan, even if they get that, after auction also, if they get that deposit, they will not be able to in a position to start that deposit. So these are some of the very important issues which we have to address. Now, this Union Cabinet, the Government of India has approved the National Mineral Exploration Policy also in 2016, which aims at accelerating mineral exploration in the country by allowing higher participation of private sector by prioritizing public expenditure on detailed exploration activities. While all these have promising effect, meeting mineral development and production, but a number of lingering issues are negating the full potential as envisaged in this. A National Mineral Policy 2019, though they are very good, but there are few issues which we have to address. These are definitely good for encouraging the private sector to take up exploration. As I started with the exploration is a vital factor for starting a mining operation, be it coal or mineral. So the exploration we have to expedite. Efforts to harmonize taxes, levies, and royalty with world benchmarks to help private sectors. Faster clearance mechanism leading ultimately to single window clearance system. Encouragement of merger and acquisition of mining entities. Creation of dedicated mineral corridors to boost private sectors. Long-term export and import policy for mineral, which will help the private sector in better planning and stability. Now, as you know, in the metal industry, as we are going down, the quality is also deteriorating. That means initial period the plant was designed for high grade deposit, but now as we are going down, content of mineral is going down, and the grades are going down. That means the low grade mineral the people are mining. So the plants should be modernized based on the low grade deposit, and there is a high competition of scarce resources. So with this this pandemic, when in fact because of the outbreak of the pandemic, there is a slowdown of economy, and all the mining people also started to modernize their operation, and they started with the with Internet of Things, automated drones, 3D printing are being implemented in many mining operations. And in fact, we also should bring this technology here if we have to really improve the productivity and reduce our cost. Not only do these provide solution to existing problem, but also radically transform mining process, increase efficiency and profitability. Now, this because of this pandemic, though the permission was given by Government of India even during the lockdown period to start these mining operations, but then there was a slowdown in offtake, there was a slowdown in import, there was slowdown in export. In fact, if I remember, there was a 30% drop in the export, and 48% drop in import. That means though their mining operation was on, but then because of the non-availability of the logistics and import and export license, even they were not getting. Because of that, also the mining sort of dropped, and production also dropped. So this is what I was in fact talking about, the technology, in fact, plays a very major role if we have to really improve our efficiency and productivity. And if we are really interested to reduce our cost, then technology plays a very major role. And I will just tell you when actually we started this copper mines, underground mines, which has gone down by say 500, 600 meters. And then we had planned to produce more from underground. So how can we do it? So we totally modernize the activities, and then the production also ramped up. So these are some of the issues probably we have to think of when we talk about the mining in Jharkhand. If you compare our Jharkhand with other states, then you will find that Jharkhand is not at all progressing so far as the mining is concerned. So we have to think in that line, and we have to deliberate. And in fact, there is a need to sort of brainstorming how to do it, how to get the clearances, how to bring the technology, how to establish the plants, because the value addition plants also you have to set up. And the second thing is, skill development is also very important. How you are going to develop the skill of your people, because if you have to bring the technology, you have to upskill and reskill your people. And because of this pandemic, there was the migrant laborers also came back, and then they are not jobless. You have to train them and sort of skill them, so that you can even go for the employment, and you can generate employment for those people. So I think I will just conclude with this, that though we talk, all the time we talk that Jharkhand is very rich so far as the mineral is concerned, 40% reserve is there everywhere, everybody talks about that. But what is the offtake? It is not even 20%. So though 40% we talk about, the offtake is only 20%. So if the compared to others, if the other states are having low minerals, they are producing more. So why can't we do that? So there has to be a comprehensive plan, so that we can really exploit those reserves which are there in Jharkhand. And again, I will give a stress that we have to give a lot of stress on exploration, so that we can, because we do not know. Surrender we talk about, because 200, he is talking about 2000 million ton of iron ore in India. It is more. Somebody said it is 3000 million ton, because it has not been proved. So let us in fact give more stress on exploration, and then only we can plan our mine. Because if you don't explore your deposit perfectly, then you cannot plan it properly. So this is what I just wanted to say. And before I conclude, I again would like to thank the ASSOCHAM for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Abhijit ji. Thanks. Abhijit ji, and he has explained about the issues that is ailing the state of Jharkhand. And I must say that he has highlighted, not as a country, we should only benchmark with Australia, but as a Jharkhand, we should also benchmark with other states like Odisha, so that it's not only about how much mineral resources are there, but how much value of mineral production is happening. That is the important thing, because that is contributing to the GDP. And especially means like other speakers, you have also highlighted about the forest related issue, for the faster forest clearance and environment clearance. Forest management plan has to be prepared. So means I must thank you for highlighting all those issues. But another issues that for everybody, every participant, that Vijay has told, one thing is about the harmonization of taxes, because we are one of the highest taxed country in the world, compared to where there is a 30%, 35%, our tax incidences have been increasing up to 65%. And second thing is that if an industry has to remain competitive and entrepreneurship, as you said, that the inefficient players have to be allowed to die. And that can only happen if the government allows and government makes policies in a way that where there is an encouragement of merger and acquisition, so that new and efficient players are allowed to enter and participate. Because industries should not suffer for inefficiency of one or two organizations. And third thing, technology. I agree with you, sir. Technology remain an important factor. Mining industry cannot be globally competitive if it shies away from technology. You see, cheap manpower, only looking at cheap manpower will not sustain it in the long term. Technology, about all the digital technology, as well as technology in exploration, as well as technology in low grade ore beneficiation is very important. So I think this must these aspects must have been appreciated by all the participants. Thank you once again for sharing your insights. I will invite our next speaker. I am honored to invite our next speaker, that is Dr. Prabhas Chandra Misra, Executive Head, Indian Institute of Coal Management. He has experience across the spectrum in not from mining, but from HEM maintenance, material management, human resource development, contract management, system development. So he has a wealth of experience about all the activities that is happening in mining industry. He is a PhD scholar in management from BIT Mesra. Considering the fact that he had one of the rare cross-functional skills that he has developed or gained in working with the diverse process team and have a 360-degree business perspective, I will request him to give his ideas about changing face of the coal industry, and will request him to keep his most probably, as he has told me that he has to be excused at 4:30 because he had some other meeting. So so considering that, you have please tell whatever the issues that you want to highlight. Please share your thoughts, because we might not get your time during interaction section. Please.
Thank you, Sanjay Prasad sir. I will be there. In fact, that is now, that engagement is not there now. So rest be assured I will be there. Thank you very much.
That's great, sir. That's a great.
Giving me opportunity to express some of my viewpoints. Respected, esteemed panelists, dear participants, I am very proud to be here and get an opportunity to speak to all of you. Friend, let me tell you that coal has an unmatched strategic relevance for this country. This we say, but this we do not experience. Let me share two small data. Out of our 1,26,000 crores of revenue, 41 lakhs goes for the taxes. Now that one must realize that there is a huge chunk of money which goes for royalty, for GST, for district mineral fund, for national mineral exploration fund, and all that. The second important thing is that in spite of all these problems, I will not bracket Jharkhand with a black face, because we have faced the similar or equal problem at every places in this country. But still, I can assure you that we have possessed 2,675 acres of hectares of land during this COVID period, because we are here not because of monopoly. We are here not because of, we are here because of strength, this company. I have been watching this because being at a central place as faculty member of this institute and as head of this institute, I have been watching the different organizations, apart from all the coal producing companies, the private companies, because a lot of private companies also have their participants come here for the training. So this industry is there because it has really worked a lot, but people do not know that. And that is the reason of not getting the cooperation from the state or from maybe the society at large, because this strategic relevance we do not know. The second data is that this year also, out of 1378 billion units of power, The 950 unit has come from thermal coal. So 69% of the power generation is there from thermal today also. You may be hearing about lot many things, the hydel, the nuclear, the wind, the solar and all that. But what is the situation today is that for this country, the coal is still there in abundance, it is available and it is affordable. And it is not only coal, because the coal supplies is at the local price. It is not matching with the international prices as this happens to the other commodity. So it makes the end user industry very competitive. So that way also coal is required, because it makes the end user industry competitive in the market. So coal is there and it is going to remain, but I think that the power requirement basket is so big that the mix of coal, at least for 2050, will remain at least for the 45% of the power requirement of the energy. Coal will be meeting for this industry. There will be impact of commercial mining, but friend, from 1993, when the Coal India production was meager, almost less than 1/4 of the production it was today. At that point of time only, the government has gone for the deregulation of the coal industry, where they have invited anybody who is interested in the power generation, they can take the coal mining. And you have seen, because the coal is a business which is a different from other business. All the private players who are having money, who are having the capacity, they had gone for other softer options, for communication, for infrastructure, for other, because their main aim was to enhance the corporate earning at that point of time. As a faculty member, I can tell you. But this government coal agency has worked as a corporate citizen for the economic. So it has touches the life of the people who are there in the far-flung areas. We are black and we operate in the far-flung areas. We do not say most of the things which this company is doing, because you know that the media and all that is catching those things which really attracts the general people. But this company has lot of inherent strength. The coal mining industry, which is operating, which people do not know in this country. That is the unfortunate, that the people should know that the coal business is a different business altogether. It is not as usual as the normal business is there, due to the gestation period, due to the threats which are there, due to the risk involved in this. It is a different, and that people should appreciate. And based on that, they should judge the performance of a sector. Maybe that there are some problems for this sector, inefficiency and all that, but then there has been changing face of this industry. I would like to tell you in few words. You think of the COVID time. This company has not ceased operation for a single day. For a single day, this company has taken so much of proactive steps that any COVID coal soldier was given 15 lakh rupees cash if there has been a casualty, and a job which is unmatched in any company in this country. But nobody knows that. A lot of private company has done a fraction of that. Everybody knows that. But this company has taken a lot of proactive measures, not only for the production, not only for the growth, but also for the consumer-friendly measures which were taken. And that is the reason that in spite of such a bad entire world going under transformation, we could have the 90% of the production, and also the 86 or 87% of the targeted offtake during the last FY21 also. So this company has worked, and then they have even the special e-auction for those plants which was having the coal import from outside. for Atmanirbhar. In August, September also, they have fixed their e-auction at the bare minimum price just to enhance their growth. So many steps were taken. It was not that by default it was done through lot of design that and also for the society. The coal industry has given money for the disaster authority of the different states where it all works in the 8 different states. So for the community development and for the COVID fighting of the states and the community at large, apart from their own employees, it has been working. That Coal India has taken a lot of steps for the consumer satisfaction, which people may not be aware today, that we are a seller which we don't decide our quality. So out of the 80% of the commodity which we sell, our quality is decided through the third party sampling agency. So it is not that anything we are selling, we are getting the money. So it is now that out of our dispatch of maybe 574 million ton, 484 million ton of coal was judged through the third party sampling agency. And based on that, we were getting the price. And if your product is not up to our promised grade, then we are paying the money of whatever is required for that. The company is also working hard for the evacuation facilities, for the railway line, for the different projects through government and all that, financing also railway projects, so that the evacuation could be made very fast. Though the threat of commercial mining is there, but then Coal India has started innovating things. It is not imitating from the past, where you will we are rest assured that we will be competitive, whatever may be the problem. I am discussing because in Jharkhand, you know that we are the coal producer. Our 2 subsidiaries are completely here. Third subsidiary has also substantial production, and a planning and design institute is there. So we are a major stakeholder for this state. And so we feel that we are developing the technology. You know that for the technological development, the lot of big end machines are being taken, and then the old machines are getting replaced, which were not replaced. Almost 17,000 crore worth of capex, capital expenditure will be there this year. Last year, we have spent almost 11,000 for procurement of machines, for the infrastructure development, and for the procurement of the land. So that is for the capex. Also, Coal India is doing a lot of modern things, which people should know. Coal India has not only digitized its operation, but it has gone in a big way for digitalization, and the most of the job is done digitally. So Coal India, in some of the subsidiaries, the SAP has been implemented, and through Tech Mahindra and other subsidiaries, SAP is going to implement. So we are not depending on the past imitating processes. We are going for this company is going for the innovative processes. Rehabilitation and resettlement, Coal India has a credential for that, and that is the reason that we have acquired 2,657 acres of land during this COVID period. So this is because we have got a system whereby rehabilitation and resettlement, we have a stakeholders as a project affected persons, and then we are getting the cooperation of them. But you know that there are issues like the law and order, which is there. There are issues which are there. We are also doing some modern, very latest modern concepts where by a IT company has been given contract for the 10 giga mines, mega mines, where we are telling them that if you increase our production any ton beyond 100 million ton, then the profit will be shared between the Accenture and the Coal India Limited. And those mines are, you know, that they are in NCL, and those mines are in SECL. Those are the big mines. The mines are 188 million ton mines capacity area is there, which is basically the 32% of the production of the Coal India. Those Deepika, Gevara, and Kusunda, which is there in the Korba area. So as the next 25 years are being called as the Amrit Kal of the new phase of development of country, we continue to transverse ways to make the nation Atmanirbhar, and then Coal India is ready. Coal India is happy that if the commercial mining happens, then at least it will reduce the import because the power demand is increasing very fast, and the requirement of coal is there for fast. We are trying our best to reduce the import bill to the extent possible for the country also. With this, I think that the state government should become a stakeholder in real terms, beyond looking only looking after that the mineral resource is there, but then mineral resource is there, but then it's offtake and extracting it, and there are many technology. It requires knowledge. It requires knowledge. It's not basically the coal mining company. We are a knowledge company where it requires the knowledge of the geologist to know where coal is. It requires the knowledge of the civil engineer to have the project. It requires the project management. It requires the electrical. It requires the mechanical. And then it requires the realization. You know that lot of customers are there, far from there, with so many things. It's a knowledge, basic. It is not how you extract the coal. It is the knowledge of how a lump of coal travels from the mother earth to the power point's boiler. That is the knowledge which is required for operating a coal company, which this company has acquired. And I am sure that this company will be serving till such time it is required to do that. And also company is diversifying for the other coal to chemical, companies diversifying for solar also. So in future also it will be serving for the country's energy security. Thank you very much for giving me opportunity, and I will seek some questions if it is there, because I am staying back, Sanjay.
I really I empathize with Coal India. I have been an ex-employee of Coal India Limited, so I empathize with Coal India Limited. First thing is that globally, mining industry itself is in a disadvantageous position because it is a revenue producing industry. It works in a remote area, but it gets always bad press. And Coal India has that, it being a public sector unit, people don't realize that how much efforts it is investing in building this industry. So I am in totally agreement with that one. It is not only development of earning a profit as a corporate citizen, but it's also doing all stakeholders development simultaneously. Its employees, its periphery people getting their employment. So, and not only that, if you look at it in India, especially in mining industry, and if you look at pre-70, the type of safety conditions were there, and after Coal India coming into the picture, how the situations have changed, and continuously it is being changed with capital, with the type of equipment, investment in capital equipment, investment in digitalization. So we believe that Coal India will remain an important vehicle for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you for your insight, sir. Thank you. It gives me immense pleasure again to invite our next panelist, Dr. Gunwant Singh Mongia. He is founder and the chairman of Mongia Group of Industries. He is one of the most respected leading industrialist in India. He is one of the foremost philanthropists as a chairman and director of Mungia Group of Green Foundation and Mungia Foundation. I hereby invite him to talk on impact of coal mining in domestic steel demand. Please, sir, dais is open to you.
नमस्कार, इंजीनियर्स डे पर सभी को बहुत बहुत हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं एवं बधाई। मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
जी जी
जी, धन्यवाद जी। मैं सिर्फ कुछ पॉइंट्स पर बात करना चाहता हूं कि बहुत सारी चीजें जो पहले समय से रिक्वायर्ड थी, वो उस समय में जो अपने देश की परिस्थितियां थी उस मुताबिक चल रही थी। अभी क्या हो गया है कि इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन जैसे जैसे बढ़ा है तो बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी हो गई जो चाह रही हैं इस समय में, इस समय वक्त की जरूरत है। जैसे समझ लीजिए कि पहले टेलीफोन डिपार्टमेंट सारा ये पीएनटी डील करता था, आज मोबाइल आ जाने की वजह से जितनी रफ्तार से इसमें ड्रास्टिक चेंजेस भी आए हैं और बहुत बड़ा रिवॉल्यूशन आ गया है। उसी प्रकार से बहुत सारी ऐसी माइनिंग है जो कि आज भी गवर्नमेंट के बहुत ज्यादा कंट्रोल में है और उसके बाद भी जो चीज मिलती भी है तो उसमें हम लोगों को माइनिंग मिल ही नहीं पाती है। हम लोग माइनिंग चाहें भी तो अच्छी माइनिंग नहीं मिल करके ऐसी ऐसी माइंस मिलती है जो कि हम लोग उसको यूज ही नहीं कर सकते। तो मेरा सिर्फ ये कहना है कि अब हम लोगों को बिजनेसमैन पर ट्रस्ट करना होगा और बिजनेसमैन को समझना होगा कि यही लोग अब देश को आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं। कुछ चीजें ऐसी हैं जैसे समझ लीजिए कि गवर्नमेंट का काम है गवर्नेंस करना, आप गवर्नेंस करो। आप ये मत देखो कि उसमें बिजनेसमैन कमा लेगा तो बिजनेसमैन क्या करेगा। बिजनेसमैन पर आप जितना भी टैक्स आज के दिन में जितनी ड्यूटीज जितने कुछ लगे हुए हैं वो सारे वो पेमेंट करके काम कर रहे हैं और उसके बाद इससे जो रेवेन्यू आना है वो भी इसी देश का रुपया है और इसी देश में काम आना है। लेकिन माइनिंग जितनी एफिशिएंटली प्राइवेट लोग कर सकते हैं उतनी एफिशिएंटली गवर्नमेंट से होनी नहीं है। और उसके बाद प्राइस जो आते हैं, जो आप कहते हैं कि हमें आपको मिल नहीं पा रहा है, इसका इम्पैक्ट वो इसलिए नहीं मिल पा रहा है कि उसमें खर्च आपके ज्यादा हो जाते हैं और प्राइवेट माइनर्स जो हैं उनके ऊपर में आप देखिए गवर्नमेंट है तो आप उनको सजेस्ट कीजिए कैसे करना है, आप उनको माने मदद कीजिए कि आप उसको किस तरह से उसमें क्लियरेंस लेनी है, किस तरह से काम करना है। लेकिन यहाँ क्या हो रहा है कि हर जगह हडल्स हो जाने की वजह से प्राइवेट माइनर्स इसमें बहुत कम काम कर पा रहे हैं। आज इतनी माइंस पड़ी हुई हैं, आज जब झारखंड के देखें तो आयरन ओर की माइंस बिल्कुल मैं समझता हूँ कि सारी नेग्लेक्ट हो रखी है। और कितने लोगों ने सन 2000, 2001, 2005, 2010 में इतने एप्लीकेशंस पड़े हुए थे, सारे के सारे रिजेक्ट होके पड़े हुए हैं और सब में कोई ना कोई ऑब्स्टिकल लगा करके पड़े हुए हैं। क्या कोई है आप मौका दीजिए, आप उन पर ट्रस्ट कीजिए। और ये क्या हो रहा है कि कहीं से भी कोल माइनिंग हो या क्यों हो, देखिए इस बार गवर्नमेंट ने जरूर चाहा है कि प्राइवेट लोग आए माइनिंग करें, लेकिन फिर भी जो चीज थ्रू नहीं हो पा रही है, जो चीज आप चाह रहे हो वो चीज धरातल पर नहीं आ पा रही है, तो आप ये समझ लीजिए कि उतनी आसानी से आम पब्लिक को, जैसे छोटे बिजनेसमैन जो हैं, हम लोग जैसे समझते हैं अपने आप को, तो हम लोग को लेवल प्लेइंग का मौका ही नहीं मिलेगा तो हम लोग कैसे काम करेंगे। सभी को एक जैसा मौका मिलना चाहिए पहले तो। और जिस तरह से किसी को माइंस मिल गई है तो उनके बड़े बड़े प्लांट जिनके हैं उनको माइंस मिल गई है, वो खुद से माइनिंग कर रहे हैं। ठीक है, इस बार तो खैर बहुत चीजों में सुधार आया है और मुझे खुशी है कि वो लोग भी अपनी पूरी रॉयल्टी दे करके और तब माइंस ले पा रहे हैं। उसी प्रकार बाकी लोगों को भी, जो छोटे काम करने वाले वो छोटी माइंस भी लेके भी काम करेंगे, छोटे भी लोग काम कर पाएंगे, लेकिन सबको मौका मिलेगा ना, सभी को चांस मिलेगा ना। तो उसमें क्या है, छोटे छोटे माइंस वाले तो क्लियरेंस ही नहीं करा पाते। अभी उनको एनवायरमेंट क्लियरेंस, एक छोटी सी बात बताता हूं कि मैंने अपना एनवायरमेंट क्लियरेंस 2016 में दिया हुआ था और जो आज तक मेरा फैक्ट्री का एनवायरमेंट क्लियरेंस नहीं हो पाया है। तो ये सब तो छोटी छोटी बातें, झारखंड गवर्नमेंट में हम हैं तो ये सब तो छोटी छोटी बातें जिनका कि तुरंत होना चाहिए कि इंडस्ट्री को आप सपोर्ट कर रहे हो। उसी तरह से माइनिंग में भी इतने ऑब्स्टिकल है, जैसे किसी की जिस समय काम करने की इच्छा होती है, जिस समय वो कोशिश कर रहा होता है, अगर सिर्फ उसको 2, 4, 5 साल आप डिले कर दीजिए तो उसके विचार बदल जाएंगे, उसकी परिस्थितियां बदल जाएंगी, उनके फंड कहीं डाइवर्ट हो जाएगा, वो काम ही नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो जिस वक्त कोई चाहता है काम करना, जिस वक्त उसके लिए वो प्रिपेयर्ड है, जिस वक्त उसके पास में समय है, उस वक्त वो जिस समय करना चाहता है उसको जितनी आसानी से, जैसे सिंगल विंडो सिस्टम बिल्कुल झारखंड में लागू हुआ है, लेकिन इसका इंपैक्ट बिल्कुल नहीं है, नेग्लिजिबल है, जिसका कि अगर इंडस्ट्री को फायदा नहीं हो रहा, माइनिंग को इसका फायदा नहीं हो रहा, तो आप ये समझिए कि हम जिस प्रोग्रेस की ओर जाना चाह रहे हैं, समय बदल गया। जिस समय सीसीएल की जरूरत थी, उसने सीसीएल ने या बीसीसीएल ने जिन्होंने भी जिस गवर्नमेंट की ओर से जो माइनिंग हुई है उस वक्त इसकी जरूरत थी। अब समय बदल गया है। आज बड़े बड़े प्लांट है, सेल वगैरह जो है आज टाटा के टक्कर में उतना रफ्तार से काम नहीं कर पा रहे हैं जितना कि टाटा कर पा रहे हैं। या आप जैसे जेएसडब्ल्यू वगैरह को देखें तो जितनी रफ्तार से वो ग्रो कर रहे हैं उतनी रफ्तार से ये लोग के पास में क्या चीज की कमी है, लेकिन नहीं कर पा रहे। तो होता क्या है कि हम जरूर अच्छा कर रहे हैं, हमारी गवर्नमेंट जरूर अच्छा कर रही है, लेकिन उसको कंपटीशन में लाने के लिए, उसको टक्कर देने के लिए आप प्राइवेट लोगों को देखिए और उसके बाद उनका आप रिजल्ट भी देखिए। आपसे अच्छा रिजल्ट दे पाएंगे और उसमें हर एक को अलग अलग मौका मिलेगा। किसी चीज में अगर मोनोपोली हो जाती है तो आप पक्का जान लीजिए कि उसके सामने में उनका काम उतना परफेक्ट आ पाएगा कि नहीं आ पाएगा, लेकिन इसका बिजनेसमैन को उतना फायदा नहीं मिल रहा सर। मैं तो अभी डॉक्टर प्रभात चंद्रा साहब का सुन रहा था, निश्चित रूप से बहुत अच्छे काम हुए हैं और बहुत सारा कोल हम लोग को मिला है रेगुलर और उसी पर हम लोग डिपेंडेंट भी है। लेकिन अभी भी मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि जिस तरह से वहां पर काम होता है और जिसने कानून है, या समझ लीजिए कि कई बार ऐसा भी होता है कि जिस रेट में हम लोगों ने लिया हुआ है और बाद में कोई इंप्लीमेंट आ गया है, इंप्लीमेंटेशन आ गई तो उसमें बता दिया गया कि आपका इतना पैसा और कट गया है। आप बताइए, जिस चीज को हमने परचेस कर लिया एक बार, हमने उसके हिसाब से बेच लिया और एक साल के बाद अगर आप उसका कहेंगे कि उसमें कोई इंप्लीमेंटेशन आ गई थी उसकी वजह से आपका और पैसा लग गया है, तो बताइए हम बिजनेस कैसे करेंगे। लेकिन चूंकि मोनोपोली है, हमारा पैसा कट गया, हम नेक्स्ट बार देखेंगे। तो मेरा कहने का मतलब ये है ना कि बिजनेस को बिजनेस के लिहाज से देखा जाए और बिजनेसमैन से अच्छा बिजनेस नहीं करेगा। आप उन पर भरोसा कीजिए और आप उनको माइंस दीजिए। आप देखिए कितना ज्यादा काम आगे कर पाते हैं। निश्चित अभी कोशिश की गई है कुछ माइंस देने की, लेकिन उसमें इंप्लीमेंटेशन इतनी ज्यादा है कि वो लोग भी नहीं ले पा रहे हैं। और जिन लोगों ने ली है वो तो बहुत बड़े बड़े प्लेयर हैं। तो सभी को अगर जितना ज्यादा मौका दीजिएगा और जितने ज्यादा प्लेयर्स मार्केट में आएंगे तो सभी अपना अपना काम को अपने अपने दिखाएंगे और हर एक के पास कुछ ना कुछ ऐसे गुण हैं जो हर एक को सिखा पाएंगे। छोटे भी बड़े को सिखा सकते हैं, इसके लिए कोई बड़ी बात नहीं, लेकिन आप उनको मौका दीजिए, उनको सामने आने दीजिए। और आप देखिए कि देश किस तरह से हम लोग जितना इंपोर्ट करते हैं कोयला, आप ये समझ लीजिए जितना इंपोर्ट करते हो किनसे करते हैं? क्या हमने किसी गवर्नमेंट से इंपोर्ट किया? क्या हम लोग जितने इंपोर्ट करते हैं सब हम लोग प्राइवेट प्लेयर से वहां पर इंपोर्ट करते हैं। वो लोग भी तो वहां पर माइंस ऑनर हैं। जहां से भी हम लोग इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, ऑस्ट्रेलिया से करें या जहां से भी करें, मतलब आप देखेंगे कि वहां पर जितने प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स हैं वो डे टू डे के रेट के हिसाब से रोज मार्केट में मैच करके देते हैं। आपके यहाँ एक बार रेट खुलना है तो जो ई ऑक्शन में जो रेट हम लोग लड़ करके ले पाएंगे तो हो पाएगा, और नहीं तो आप ये समझ लीजिए कि ई ऑक्शन एक बेहतर जरूर आया है सिस्टम, लेकिन इसमें भी कई जगह पर ऐसे हैं जहां माइंस पे कुछ मोनोपोली है लोगों की, वहां पर हम लोग ई ऑक्शन में लड़के लेंगे भी नहीं क्योंकि वहां पर तो हम उठा ही नहीं सकते हैं। फिर भी जितने प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स है वो जितना मैनेज करके काम करा के दिखा देंगे, रिजल्ट ला के दिखा देंगे, उतना मैं समझता हूँ गवर्नमेंट से नहीं होना है। और मुझे लगता है कि प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स को ज्यादा मौका मिलना चाहिए माइनिंग में। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you, Munge sir. Thank you. I must say that globally we see mining industry. Mining industry is an industry depending on the risk that is associated with this industry. It is dominated by private players only. If Australia, Canada, Indonesia, wherever you will say, and that's important. During 70s, it was something the time that industry was very immature and it has to look at scientific and systematic mining. It has faced a number of accidents and fire at that point of time. So Coal India has a role to lead the mining industry at that point of time. But we also agree with you that with changing times, it is important to increase or harness, I will say, the animal spirits of private entrepreneurs in this business and look for the efficiency and escape, means I will say enhancement of production at a faster and accelerated rate. We might have very less time left for coal, especially in the thermal power. So it's important. And another issue that we have highlighted is that wind means government needs to look at how small scale industries are also encouraged to participate, because they will be able to bring the nimbleness, they will be able to do something very fast compared to the means every industrial scenario. It is a duty that to of each of the players in the market. Thank you for your opinion, your thoughts, sir. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to invite our last panelist, Sri Ujjwal Chatterjee ji. who is presently whole-time advisor to EMMRL, a SL Mining Group company, a subsidiary of Aditya Birla Group. He has more than 35 years of experience. He, in mining industry, he had joined Tata Steel in 1985 and has worked in coal mining across different positions and different locations in Jharia as well as West Bokaro. And he has a tremendous experience in business development and diversification. I will request him to share his thoughts on future prospects of commercial mining, especially in Jharkhand. Please, sir, dice is okay to you.
Thank you, Sanjeev, and thank you, ASSOCHAM Jharkhand, for having me and giving me this opportunity to speak on mining in Jharkhand. But being the last speaker, obviously my job has been made a little difficult because most of the points have already been covered or spoken to. But since I am born, brought up, educated, and spent most of my work life in Jharkhand, it becomes quite imperative to say at least some of the key points which bothers me as regards to mining in Jharkhand is concerned. Now, going by a little bit of statistics, which we all know and we have already discussed, Jharkhand GDP stands somewhere around $50 billion last financial year, which is 5% over the last financial year. So the GDP has marginally gone up. But as we all know, Jharkhand being mineral-rich resource in this country, 27% of coal, iron ore, 26%, 18% of copper, other than uranium, mica, bauxite, granite, limestone, silver, graphite, magnetite, dolomite, etc., etc. And as one of my co-speaker had already spoken, Jharkhand is the only state which produces coking coal, uranium, and pyrite. And the state's coal reserve stands somewhere around 83,000 million tons. And it accounts for 22-25% of total steel production in this country. And but unfortunately, Jharkhand's share in coal production has dropped from 18% to 17%, almost 1% drop in the last financial year. Now, mining being both national as well as a state issue, so I cannot be complete in my talk unless and until there are certain central legislations which are also responsible for mining in this country brought into picture. Now, just to give an overview of what is happening in the coal, which already Mr. Itolia has covered in extensively. So as we all know, 204 coal blocks were deallocated by way of Honorable Supreme Court order in 2014. And out of this 204, 98 has been allocated as per CMSP, although 104 has been allocated as per CMSP and MMDR, but 98 were allocated as per CMSP. Out of these 98, 12 blocks have been either cancelled or surrendered. And then the balance 86 blocks, 12 are only under operations. Latest 67 blocks were put into auction where 20 blocks had successful bidders. Out of these 67 blocks, 16 were from Jharkhand, 3 blocks had takers, and out of 16 blocks from Jharkhand, 4 were coking coal grade, and out of 4 coking coal blocks, only 1 was sold. So today, as we all know, the headroom in the thermal coal is very, very poor. And that is why there are hardly any takers in thermal coal by the private investors, because it is much more competitive to buy it from outside. And India and Jharkhand being, apart from Madhya Pradesh, is the only state which has reserves in coking coal. Even then, the coking coal hardly any takers because of the block issues. As we all know, these statistics are reflections of reality. Whatever we might claim, whatever we might talk, whatever we might boast, whatever we might advertise, The statistics are basically exhibiting what the reality is. KPMG coal price forecast for next 5 years indicates either steady or northbound for hard and semi-soft coking coal, whereas southwards for PCI and thermal coal. Now, under such a situation, where the worldwide dependence on fossil fuel is slowly dispensed with, we are trying to incentivize in commercial mining in this country. So obviously, maybe we are 2 steps behind, or maybe we have almost completely missed the bus as such. But even then, to catch up, there might require certain aggressive, bold, drastic decisions. Otherwise, this catch up will never happen in this lifetime, and the deposits might remain with the Mother Earth for rest of the life. As we all know, the amendments in the MMDR or the rules or the acts which govern mining in this country have been done almost on a knee-jerk basis. So whatever has been done on a PIL, which came up on court or public interest, the amendment was done to just rectify it. The requirement of industry or the requirement of energy systems in this country was perhaps not so much widely focused. As a result, we see such situation where we are almost in an equilibrium in mining. Unfortunately, the amendment in the mineral concession rule requires that the mining concession will be given either on the prospecting or on the extracting situation. Now, obviously, with all these risks, nobody will like to plow in his money for prospecting where the certainty and the uncertainty are so much. As a result, neither we are exploring nor we are exploiting. So as a mining, we are absolutely in a very happy state. We are in a very good equilibrium state. No exploration, no extraction. So to that extent, there will be conservation of mineral in this country to that extent. And quite a good amount of reserves might remain unexplored unless and until we take certain drastic situation immediately. Now, for whatsoever reasons, mining in this country had been portrayed as a dirty business, and there were enough upheavals in iron ore and coal mining. For reasons right or wrong, the transformation from the dirty to clean business took its toll. There were several innocent investment which remained unproductive, and the nation lost as a whole. As we are all aware, the value of any mineral lies in its end use and the final product marketability in the market, be it seed, cement, power, etc. Unfortunately, in this journey of transformation, the revenue sharing structure demands profit sharing just after mining itself without any further value addition in the value chain. And that makes mining even more difficult and competitive. At the same time, the risk factors in the realizations of the newly allocated coal blocks remain high in terms of statutory clearance, land and law and order as enumerated by the earlier speakers. So under this situation, it becomes one of the most challenging situations. Just allotment of these blocks may not actually yield a result. Just to give you an example, yesterday, the additional secretary and the nominated authority was in Bhubaneswar. So all the coal blocks which have been now allocated as per CMSP in Odisha, so there are almost 50 million ton which are expected to be, apart from the volume that will be hauled by MCL, 50 million ton will be required to be hauled from Talcher coalfield. Now there are no last mile connectivity with the Indian railway network system. As a result, this becomes one of the biggest bottlenecks. And you might be very, very interested to know that in the last tranche of auction, one of the coal block in Jharkhand got a premium of 76% of revenue sharing. That means 24% of its revenue they will make even, and they will float around and make business. It's very, very challenging, obviously. I do not know how it happens, but probably it is one of the reasons is the block is very nearest to the railhead, within 3 kilometers. So these are some of the issues apart from lack of compensatory afforestation, land availability. While Coal India, they have been in privileged situation, as I always been saying in all my forums, that Coal India has a basket of money. It's like an average depth of swimming pool. Some mines are profiteering, some mines are loss making. Whereas in the private coal mining, people will have only 1 or 2 mines and they have to make most of it. If it is loss making, then obviously it closes. Other than that, in Jharkhand, the Chotanagpur and the Santal Pargana Tenancy Act comes in between for land acquisition. So unless and until the CB Act is extended to all the private players, the land acquisition through RACT and LARR 2013 is perhaps humongous and makes these projects absolutely unviable. So hence, obviously, a very empowered team needs to look into these issues as a business or as a mining industry. Otherwise, the whole state of affairs perhaps will be moving around the situation which we are in 2021. Other than coal, the issues related to other minerals in Jharkhand is no better. In case if I am allowed to share a screen, then I can share one sheet which I have just downloaded from the Ministry of Mines, which shows state-wise, mineral-wise allocation situation. Is the sheet we have available visible? So if you see, this is the latest status of all blocks or other mineral other than coal: iron ore, manganese, limestone, manganese, chromite, graphite, gold, bauxite, diamond, copper. If you see Jharkhand, there are several leases in the opening statement which has already got expired in last year. The exploration level of G1, G2 level are bare minimum. Only one block came up, that was also challenged. So hardly any block got auctioned in Jharkhand as far as iron ore is concerned. So other than that, there are 2 limestone, 2 graphite and 2 gold blocks which came up for auction. Compared to that, if you see Karnataka and Odisha, which are also iron ore bearing states, Karnataka has 18 blocks which went for under the hammer. Odisha had 16 blocks which are going into hammer. Similarly, other minerals also. So unless and until this situation improves and there is a proactive direction from the state government so that other minerals, because whenever we talk of mining, we generally try to restrict ourselves to coal and iron ore. Unfortunately, in the days of electric car, obviously, slowly we will be dispensing with fossil fuel, and hydrogen, nickel, cadmium, all these things will come into play. On those situations, obviously, mining of other minor minerals and other minerals other than coal, iron ore, etc., should also be explored. And that should happen on a absolutely on a war footing so that we can also pick up the transition or the transformation from fossil fuel to the nickel cadmium basis. That also should happen. But those are also yet to be seen. So unless and until those actions are initiated, we will remain perhaps in the same situation which we have been in last almost 2 decades. With this, I would like to close my session, and in case there are questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Sanjeev ji, we are not able to hear you, please.
I'm extremely sorry. I'm extremely sorry. Thank you, Ujjwal ji. I must agree with you that being the last speaker, there are challenges because all the low-hanging subjects or topics in terms of opportunities and challenges are already addressed by other speakers. But I must say that it was really insightful from the entire structural issues that you have raised, especially the type of auction premium, the type of amendment that has happened in mineral concession rule. And means I don't know whether at some point of time people might need to revisit those amendment or not. So, but and also that mining is now not encouraging value addition. So there are issues. I will also request all the attendees. So thanks once again, so Ujjwal sir. I will request all the attendees to raise questions in the chat box so that I can take. Since Abhijit Ghoshji is supposed to. Abhijit sir, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. See, I'm there.
So since I am sorry to say that he has some other appointment and he is supposed to leave by 4:45. So I will address the first question to you only, since you have worked in mining industry as well as manufacturing industry. What do you think that what are the basically challenges and opportunity, means primarily challenges in implementing innovative ideas in mining industry compared to manufacturing industry?
Look, actually, the mining industry is a site-based. Okay, you just cannot have a mining in Ranchi or any state, any place where you want to be. So minings are always in the remote area, and then when you start in a remote area, maximum in this remote area you will be getting these tribal people or the forest land and all. But then whereas in industry, if you decide to set up an industry, you have to see a couple of things which suits the industry, that is water, infrastructure, power. These are the major things which you should look into when you are setting a plan. But whereas in mines, you have to see the location, where exactly it is located, and the infrastructure available or not, and then whether you will be getting employment opportunity for the people over there or not. Those are the things. And then if at all you have the people over there, then you have to skill them. You cannot just get skilled people. That is one of the biggest challenge if you have to set up a mine anywhere, in the remote areas. So you have to skill them, or you have to send them for skilling, or you have to start a ITI sort of things so that you can skill them, and then you can employ and you can start. The second thing is that to start a mining operation in a remote area is very difficult, because if you go there, you will not have an infrastructure there. You have to build a road, and then probably if you are required to do exploration, you have to do exploration. You have to take all the permissions required from the forest as well as environment. So those things will be definitely a little difficult as compared to the industry. Now, if you compare a manufacturing industry which supports the mining area, is again you have to see that what type of equipment you are deploying, whether that manufacturing industry is manufacturing that equipment or not. Because I was talking about the technology which has to be brought in the mining, so that you have to tie up with the manufacturing industry to ask them to manufacture those equipment which will suit your mining applications, be it open cast or underground. These are the major challenges.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Means I will ask my next question to Ratoria sir. Sir, you have given in a detail what are the challenges that we are facing, especially for this commercial auction of mines, coal mines for commercial usage. I would like to ask you that, except the structural system, means do you think anything that can be in the tender conditions that need to be changed?
You see, some of the things, as it has been talking about, that there has to be some, level playing field. About the structural changes, of course, now two things which I have mentioned, that this CBA, this CBA, I have worked in Coal India also. Now we take majority of the land through CBA. And the government has said that, they are saying that we have, in course of time, we will try to extend it to the private players. So that is one thing. And that is compensatory afforestation. Also in Coal India, we don't have to give the compensatory afforestation land. I mean, well, this could be a tender condition or not. That is the question mark. Now, so far, structural change in tender, I will put only one thing. That this, the upfront money, they are calculating on the basis of the geological reserve, which is absolutely unprofessional. I mean, everybody knows that you extract certain percentage of coal. So we have been talking to this, that you should take all the upfront money based on the mineable reserves. The geological reserves could be, and even the CMPDI itself bring it. I do not see any reason for that. So at least that part, they should be in tender conditions, that this particularly the upfront money, etc., should be calculated on the geological reserve. Second thing, you see, I mean, irrespective of the regions for which they are saying that we will consider, but when the peak rated capacity is there, based on that, you have to pay the certain amount of money. I mean, there has to be some relaxations on that part in the tender document. But particularly, I am very emphatic on this geological reserves. This is absolutely wrong. I mean, that should be based on mineable reserves. So this is one change which can be brought into this.
Agree, sir. Agree, sir. Pankaj, I was just listening to your talk. I was just thinking that you see, after this auction of mineral blocks, and I mean, Ujjwal sir has also highlighted this, that there have been blocks that have been sold at very high auction premium, and we don't know what is the commercial that happen. So, or how they can be profitable. So, what's your view on that part? Means, is auction going to stay, or there should be some changes in that process?
The auction is going to stay.
Auction is going to stay.
Yeah.
Because Tata still has been at a disadvantage. I think that.
No. I mean, see, it's like that. Those who were not having blocks, they went to the government saying that Tata is still having block, we are not having, so government came with this policy. I mean, this is a hindsight of it. But government also was very critical of the fact that the first come, first serve or discretion approach has its own, I would say, disadvantage of taking the bureaucrats to court. And when it was not there, it was not that the mining industry was incoherent. We have seen in first serve also, or in discretion method, if a block was given to one party, other party had gone to the court. How come it was given to them, and what was my fault? And even in coal block auction, we have seen the credentials of the party, those who have been given block. So, see, the certainty is that the way government is moving, and as we are not united, and I told in my opening remark that there are different fragments of our industry, PSU versus non-PSU, small versus big, and others. So we have a lot of infighting in between, and then this policy of auction is going to continue, because even if they think of, I'm giving a very wild thought, even if they think of going to discretion method of allocating the block, 90% chance is that someone will go to the court, that how come one company was given, and what basis, what was the merit, and all those things. Only thing what will change, the allocation or the auction mode will change. So there are many other assumptions, like people say that the electronic bidding is generating a lot of issues. So if someone is, say, bidding 65, other things, okay, it is only 60.05. So let's put it 60.505. And this 0.05 or 1, whatever it is making other people to take another risk, and then it goes up. But if you see the journey of coal versus non-coal, coal auction also started with a very high bid price. Now they have come to the option of rolling stock. And if someone is bidding, and if they so iron also there will
go through the same route. I agree with. Since we have another also this one, so I would just ask one point from Dr. Misra, and I would request you to be very brief, your last 30 seconds, that means what do you think about the sustainable development in mining industry and Coal India role there?
Yes, it is very important, and there are the economics and the society and the governance. These all things have to be taken care. Then only the mining can sustain. Because you know that there are issues, people inherent. There is a high wage cost in the mining industry. You know that people will not work in the far-flung area at a low wage. So the economics is very important, but at the same time, the restoration of ecology, at least the companies, our company has been doing 1 lakh hectare of this 1 million hectares of this land has been planted, and the equal emphasis should be given on the environment and on the society. Then only the economics can sustain for the coal mining, because we operate in the far-flung area, and there are many issues because people have got the resistance to part the land, creating problem in possession of land. So it is very difficult to have a sustenance. Also the cost.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And is Mungia sahab there on the line?
हेलो
हाँ मुंगे साहब, आप CSR से रिलेटेड फाउंडेशन में इतना काम कर रहे हैं, तो माइनिंग और मतलब इंडस्ट्री और ये CSR आपस में कैसे दोनों कंबाइन करके काम कर सकते हैं? मतलब क्योंकि अब DMF भी आ गया है, DMF भी है, तो हमारे पास रेवेन्यू है, काम करने वाली CSR एजेंसीज और इंडस्ट्री है, तो आपके विचार से कैसे ये तीनों आपस में कोऑर्डिनेट करके काम कर सकते हैं?
सर, इसमें जो CSR का काम है वो तो थोड़ी अपनी विलिंगनेस भी होनी चाहिए कि हम लोग इसमें अपनी ओर से भी ध्यान दें। जिस जगह पर हमने बिजनेस किया है उसके आसपास में अगर आप एक अच्छा माहौल चाहते हैं तो उसके लिए CSR का काम जो है वो बहुत एक अच्छा रिजल्ट भी देता है, और इसके साथ साथ में एक सेल्फ सेटिस्फेक्शन भी मिलता है। तो एक माइनिंग का काम जो है वो रिमोट एरिया में ही मेनली होता है, और रिमोट एरिया में काम होने की वजह से क्या है कि आसपास के जो लोग हैं उनको साथ लेकर के चलना एक बहुत बड़ी बात है और अच्छी बात भी है, क्योंकि सिर्फ कोई चीज किसी भी जगह पर आप खुद अगर डेवलप करना चाहते हैं तो आसपास का एरिया भी डेवलप करना चाहिए, लोग भी डेवलप करने चाहिए, लोग प्लीज भी होने चाहिए, लोग खुश भी होने चाहिए। तो ये चीजें जो है CSR जो है वो इसलिए नहीं है कि जो आपने क्राइटेरिया एक बना दिया है कि 2% लगना है आपके इनकम का, वो क्राइटेरिया हम लोग नहीं इसको मानते हैं। हमारे यहाँ क्या है कि अपने जो इंडस्ट्री वाले इसमें हमें सपोर्ट करना चाहते हैं वेल एंड गुड, जो नहीं करना चाहते कोई बात नहीं है। हम मुंगिया स्टील से अपनी ओर से कोशिश करते हैं कि जितना ज्यादा आसपास के एरिया के लोगों को लेके चलें, क्योंकि हमारे साथ में क्या है कि इंडस्ट्री है, यहाँ पर हमारे लोगों के साथ ही कोई काम होना है। हम तो यहाँ पर कितने दिन हैं, हम अपना वर्क, मेरा टाइमिंग है कि आज मैं अपने, मेरी एज तकरीबन 60 है और मैं बहुत करूंगा तो 10 साल काम करूंगा, उसके बाद क्या होना है। तो आसपास के एरिया के लिए डेवलप करेंगे, अगर हमारा देश डेवलप करेगा तो उसके लिए हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, तो हमारे पास मगर कुछ रिसोर्सेज हैं तो निश्चित इसको उनको उसके लिए भी इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए, और ताकि आसपास में ग्रोथ जो के साथ हो।
Understood your idea, sir. Thank you. Chatterjee sahab, my last question is with you. You have discussed in this one, but what we have seen in the last 5 years, that exploration has got stuck somewhere. So what do you view that how exploration can be increased?
This point has been discussed, at least I have been part of several discussions in several platforms. And as I said, the amendment of MMDR Act says that mineral concession will be accorded through an auction, either in the prospecting stage or in the extraction stage. That means you have to play blind almost in exploration. Now, private players who are big players in worldwide, there are several discussions on this also aspects. that without knowing what is there in the Mother Earth, how do you think any business person will sink his money? So that's the biggest disadvantage, as I said. And in spite of several discussions in several platforms, this has hardly taken any major notice, or no such action has been initiated as regards to
for the
generally.
Yeah.
In other country, generally whatever the reserve is exploited, certain percentage you should discover as exploration. So such
Yes, sir.
formula
I agree
never,
with you.
never
Chatterjee
followed in this country.
Chatterjee, sorry to cut you off. I agree. That means we need to focus on exploration. And in the last few years, that focus has gone away, and we need to put some, as you said, that some resources for exploration there. I think due to shortage of time, I have to close this webinar. So I will ask Bharatji to give his vote of thanks for this webinar. Hello, Bharatji?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sanjeev ji, for such a wonderful moderation. And I would also like to thank for each and every one, all the panelists who have participated, Sri R.P. Litolia Sahab, Chairman, Sri Pankaj Satija ji, Sri Abhijit Ghosh ji, Sri Dr. Gunwant Singh Mongia ji, Dr. Prabhas Chandra Misra ji, Sri Ujjwal Chatterjee. Thank you very much for each one of you, and we as a responsible chamber are taking note of all the things which have been discussed, and we'll be trying to create a report out of it which will be circulating to the various concerned departments. So thank you very much, each one of you. Thank you very much. It's always good to close on time. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sanjeev. Wonderful moderation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Pankaj. Chalo, nice meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Mongia ji. Okay.